So what did they do in ropes that might be different to diversion?
Ropes is essentially a course that is applied to each person, and it's all exactly the same. And so the benefit of diversion is that you can tailor it to that particular child's needs.
Susanna?
Ropes is a one-day course that children attend. They complete. It is exactly like what it sounds. It's a high and low ropes course run by the police. So a young person attends, completes the course. That certificate of completion is provided to the court, and their matter is dismissed. Clearly, it's a one-track approach to a matter. And the benefit of a diversion program is that it's going to engage young people with the kind of supports they need in the community and tailors those supports to that young person's needs. And clearly, I think Kristina's already said this, ropes is not adaptable to the young person who's completing the program. There is one other program that exists in Melbourne for young people, which is similar to the diversion, and that's the Right Step program, but that only operates in the Moorabbin area. So clearly you've got big issues about the access of young people to a diversion program when they don't live in a Melbourne or the Moorabbin area. So with any luck, if the diversion program is successful, then that will be able to be expanded throughout Victoria.
That's very interesting. And these courses that you've described sound very interactive as well, which is great for young children and coming up young adults.
One of the issues with the way that matters proceed through the Children's Court at the moment is that addressing the underlying causes of the offending tends to occur at the end of the process. The large bulk of the proceedings are taken up by the sort of legal wrangling, if you like, between the police prosecutors and the lawyers about which charges they can establish and what charges are going to have pleas of guilty entered to, basically how resolution is going to occur. So once you get to the end of the process, that's when the magistrate starts imposing penalties, which might include therapeutic aspects, but that happens towards the end of the process. Whereas if you can get a young person who's clearly troubled engaged in those therapeutic services much earlier on in the process through diversion, and then that carries along for a reasonable amount of time, then I think you're going to start seeing a bit more success about reintegrating these kids into, where they should be, like school and educational training facilities.
So what kind of damages from more punitive sentences can be incurred on a child?
There's a whole range of sentences that can be imposed on children, and they range from ropes as we have it now, and then the diversion when the pilot program is introduced in May of this year, right through to terms of imprisonment or detention in a youth justice centre. But as I said earlier, the Children's Court focus is mainly on rehabilitation as opposed to punishment.
And punishment, what kind of effect, say for example a child is put into a child correction facility, what kind of damage could that have on the child if they weren't supposed to be there, or something else to that effect?
It could have devastating consequences on a child's life, and that really should be avoided at all costs, and the magistrates will only impose a sentence like that if there is no other sentence that is available to them at the time.
We're coming to the end of our show, but I'd just like you to each summarise your thoughts on diversions. So, Kristina?
I think diversion is a wonderful program that gives people an opportunity to make a mistake. Everyone's human, and so if the diversion program is put in place for them, they can get on with their lives without having a criminal record.
And what about you, Susanna?
I think it's long overdue. A program that's designed to really engage young people with the kind of supports they need in the community early on is, I think, going to be really beneficial.
And Craig?
I think it's a more logical approach in the sense that putting a whole bunch of children that are offending in one big room isn't really going to do very much. Putting with adults that are actually going to set a foundation for them can really start kicking goals, essentially.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you. So Kristina, Susanna, Craig, we look forward to seeing you in courts. Well, hopefully not. To catch up on all our past episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel or our website www.lawhelpaustralia.org. Thanks for watching.